Hello, everyone. We're just waiting for a couple of more people.
Hello. What's up? Yes.
Is Rob down in his office? Sorry this is taking so long, everybody. We're just waiting for Max and Rob to get on.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience. I apologize. We had some technical difficulties and we couldn't get our link over to our engineering office. So Max is on his way here. And as soon as he and our Public Works Director get here, we will get started. So thanks again for your patience. And we will try and hurry through this as quickly as possible. Before I open the meeting though, I will ask, is Ryan on? Okay. I will ask all of you as applicants, did you receive the email from Diane that contained the information with the staff reports?
We got the agenda from Diane yesterday.
And did the agenda, did you just get the agenda or did it have the entire packet with the staff reports behind it? It should have been like 90 pages. Yours isn't all the 90 pages, but with all of them together, there was about 90 pages.
So I got 25 pages. So it may have been just the stuff pertaining to me.
Probably. Matthew, did you?
Yeah, we received what
Either way is fine.
we would normally hand out as for permit, everything on there with the staff notes from Public Works and fire and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, Matthew, can you repeat that?
Yeah, we received everything like what you'd normally receive for a normal impact fee or whatever, all the staff notes for Public Works, all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And Baylor, did you receive everything?
I just got the stuff pertaining to me as well.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right. Max and Rob are here now. So we will officially start our meeting. This is the Providence City Land Use Authority meeting. It is Wednesday, August 12th at 2:30, actually 2:47 in the afternoon. We're Zooming from the Providence City office building. Members of the Land Use Authority may be attending this meeting electronically. This meeting will stream live on Providence City's YouTube channel. Persons wishing to comment on agenda items may email their comments to providencecityutah@gmail.com or text comments to 435-752-9441. People also can make comments on the Zoom, or excuse me, the chats. Diane, has anybody made any comment via chat? Diane, did you hear me? You're on mute, Diane.
All right, no, nobody has chatted.
Okay, and I just checked the email and the text, and we do not have any comments on any of the agenda items there either. Members in attendance, we have Max Pierce, our city engineer, Rob Stapley, our Public Works Director. I'm Scarlett Bankhead, the Administrative Services Director. We have April Fredrickson, our zoning compliance and stormwater. And we have Diane Campbell, who also works with zoning and land use applications. It looks like we have Chris Williams, and who's with you, Chris?
Quentin Hall.
Okay, and Baylor Gunnell and Matthew Payne are also joining us as applicants. I will apologize in advance. I have to join without video. It seems like if I turn my video on, my connection goes unstable. It's a little tricky. So I'm here in spirit, but not in video. Our first item of business is a conditional use for a new home. We'll consider for approval a request by John and Julie Sanchez and Orchid Homes for a new home located at 681 Spring Creek Parkway. When we get these conditional use applications in, we go through and we use, we have to make decisions based on findings of fact, conclusions of law, and conditions. So I'm just going to review the findings of fact. They're actually pretty similar for all three applications. So this first one's a little boring because I kind of go through the whole thing with it. The other two will speed right along and just reference what we talked about in the first one. The Utah Code 109A507 allows municipalities to create conditional uses and set standards for compliance with those uses. The county GIS parcel summary shows sensitive areas that may require further analysis. Providence City Code Title 10, Chapter 5, sensitive areas states that our request for permits involving a lot, parcel, or site wholly or partially located, wholly or partially within an area subject to hazard flood, hazard slope, hazard water table, hazard earthquake, hazard wildfire regulations shall be dealt with as a conditional use permit under the provisions of 10.3.5 of this title. There are also other geotechnical conditions that may exist that fall under the conditional use, but I'm not going to read all of those. Providence City Code 10.3.5 tells us how we go about holding a conditional use meeting, which is what we're doing right now. Then in our conclusions, Providence City has adopted ordinances that include conditional uses and provisions for conditional uses. The county GIS summary, and in this case, we're talking about the property located at 681 Spring Creek Parkway is in a landslide area. Providence City has the authority to impose reasonable conditions to mitigate the reasonably anticipated detrimental effects of the proposed use, and this request meets the requirements of the code listed in the findings of fact with the following conditions. The applicant will continue to meet all relevant federal, state, county, and Providence City rules, laws, codes, and ordinances. The applicant will mitigate the landslide area by, and there's a mitigation statement that was included in our packet. That talks about the current terrain of the lot slopes from the southeast to the northwest, currently from back of curb on the east side of the property to the west side back of curb. There is a 17-foot elevation difference. Both front and back elevations on the west side of the property are close in elevation heights. There's approximately a 3-foot fall in elevation from front to back on the east side of the property. Given these constraints, this home will have a walkout basement. With this, we also need about a 4 to 6 foot retaining wall on the southeast corner of the lot, as well as another 3 to 4 foot retaining wall on the southwest corner of the lot. All slopes are to be graded away from the home at a minimum of 1/4 inch per foot. Retaining wall plans are included in a geotech study done by CMT. The retaining walls will be built with rock boulders. This will provide balance for the site, both uphill and downhill side of the property. So I do have a couple of questions on the retaining wall, but before I ask my questions, I'm going to ask April and Diane, do either of you have any comments you want to make on this one?
I don't.
Okay. I take it that's a no from Diane?
Yeah, that's no.
Okay.
You not see me, Scarlett?
Yeah, but I need you to speak for the recording. All right. Max, Rob, anything that you two gentlemen have regarding this application? Any questions you have?
I just wondered about some of those retaining walls, if they're going to have fences between the property lines, and if that's going to be any kind of a issue for the fence height, that kind of thing. And I also don't know on a retaining wall, how tall does it need to be before it is required to have a permit?
One of the things that I have, Rob, do you have any other questions? Do you have any questions? Well, because I'm going to ask my retaining wall question with Max's before we get an answer. So do you have any other questions, Rob?
I do not.
Okay. My concern on the retaining wall is a little bit of, we might have a bit of a setback issue. And so the way I might also add that Aaron Walker from the fire department did a review of this home as well. He said the access is adequate from Spring Creek Parkway. There are several hydrants within 600 feet of the proposed residence. The water flow, he feels like, is adequate. The builder is planning on a Class A roof, which is approved. They're planning on closing all underfloor decks and eaves with soffits, which is approved. And the builder is planning on installing 1/8 inch mesh screen on all openings, which is approved. That being said, our code requires you can have a retaining wall in the front yard setback less than 3 feet. If the retaining wall is going to extend above the ground more than 3 feet in the front yard, it can't be in the front yard setback. Now, I'm not really sure the way the retaining walls on the geotech report, it said they were 6 feet, 5 to 6 feet, or 6 feet, I think. And then on the plan itself, they said 5 to 6, but then on another plan, it said 4 feet. So will you please just take a minute and explain the retaining walls to us? That you, Matthew, are you?
Yeah, so at that top point, it's the highest point. Yeah, sorry, it's cutting it in and out on me. So hopefully you can hear me. We had CMT do it at point of 6 feet, just for the fact of grading and stuff. The retaining wall will face the house. At that point, it's not facing the road. The elevation change. It's probably gonna be a 4 foot wall. It'll just depend on, it's gonna essentially be 2 rocks tall, right? And so if we get, a 3 foot rock and a 2 foot rock, it may be 5 feet, but that's what it's gonna be is, on that corner, a couple of feet high, and then it levels off to level ground.
So if I'm standing on the street and I'm looking to the north
I'll see it
at the retaining wall, is it going to be level with the ground if I'm standing on the street?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And
Now-
that's why I said it's going to be somewhere between that, probably 3 to 5 feet, because it'll just depend on grades, right? We want everything sloping away from the house, obviously. Depend on how tall those rocks are stacked on, the two stacked onto each other. But from level ground, if you're standing on the sidewalk, you will just see the top of the rock, essentially.
Okay, so it won't be any type of impediment, view impediment for anybody walking along the sidewalk, for a car pulling out of the driveway, somebody pulling into their driveway. The retaining wall from the side, from looking at it from the street, it will not be in excess of 3 feet high from the street side.
No,
Okay.
no.
Now, on the other side of things, it may, I'm not sure what our building code or our building official will have you do as far as permitting on the wall itself. Since you have your geotech report, I'm sure he'll utilize that. I don't know if he'll require anything additional, but that you're going to submit all of what you submitted to us. You're submitting that to him for the building permit, correct?
Yeah, we're submitting the geotechnical report and everything, and so if there requires anything behind that wall or anything, that was part of the engineering process for that.
Okay, and then it kind of looked to me like on the side, the retaining wall is not right on the property line, is it?
No, no,
So,
because if they want to do a fence to separate between, we left that there, so a fence can be put in.
okay, all right. Does that answer your question, Max? Okay, Rob, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything further.
Okay, all right. Does anyone, April or Diane, do you have any comments
I
from
don't.
the discussion?
I don't.
Okay. That being said, I would entertain a motion to approve the conditional use and zoning. Oh, let's see. I'm getting ahead of myself. I forgot one of the conditions. Or two of the conditions, actually. This conditional use is for the home only as shown on the site plan, date stamp July 28th, 2020. So if they decide they want to add a detached garage or a swimming pool or something else, unless our ordinance is changed, they'll have to come in and do a conditional use again for that next structure. Because this is only addressing the house showed on the site plan. I reviewed the fire marshal's comments, and then the last condition is that the approval by the city of any application submitted or paperwork does not alleviate the owners and or their agents from their responsibility to understand and conform to local, state, and federal laws. Providence City's approval is not intended to and cannot be construed to allow any laws to be violated. So if we happen to miss something, just because we missed it doesn't mean that it's a get to go do it. If it's a rule, we can't, just because we missed it, we can't allow you to violate it. So make sure when you get ready to place the home that you have your property staked, that the pins are there. The building department requires those so that they know that those setbacks are where they should be. We've had some trouble. Unfortunately, people try and use every inch of their yard, and I don't blame them for a bit, but sometimes they encroach in those setbacks. And so just be really, really cognizant of the fact of where you're putting that home so that you meet all of our setbacks. And the same with the retaining wall. If for some reason when you get into this and you find out that retaining wall is going to be higher than 3 feet in the front yard, we're going to have a discussion. So don't just say, oh, they approved the retaining wall and go forward with it. That being said, I would entertain a motion to approve the conditional use and zoning for a home located at 681 Spring Creek Parkway. Max or Rob, would you like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Max Pierce, second by Rob Stapley. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Voting was unanimous. So as soon as Diane gets the record of decision ready and I get it signed, she'll get it to you, Matthew, and you can head on over to the county to go complete the building permit process. You have any questions?
Okay. Nope, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for your patience with us today. All right, our next item of on the agenda is a conditional use for a basement finish in the home of Graham and Andrea Mearns at 1156 Forgotten Lane in Providence, Utah. I'm not going to go through the findings of fact. They are the same. The conclusions are this. Excuse me. The conclusions are the same, except this parcel is in a wildfire hazard area. So we're not dealing with landslide now, we're dealing with wildfire hazard. Our other conclusion is that the request meets the requirements of the code listed in the findings of fact with the following conditions. The applicant will continue to meet all relevant federal, state, county, Providence City rules, laws, codes, and ordinances. The applicant will mitigate the fire hazard, and this says an email dated August 10th, Diane, but my email's dated August 5th. Am I missing something?
Yeah, it's probably, is that the fire hazard one?
This one says, hello, Diane, we have no added square footage or additions to the exterior of the structure. And with the hydrant 466 across the street, I have no comments for this project.
The mitigation email is August 10th. It says we will follow codes concerning fire mitigation, fire alarm in the bedroom, etc.
Oh, so you're not referring to Aaron's email?
No.
Okay, all right. My confusion, apologize there. Okay, and if I remember right, I think there was a question from the homeowners about why we were going through this process. Our ordinances periodically change, and a few years ago, we started really paying attention to sensitive areas. And as the county's mapping system for sensitive areas has improved, our ability to really see where they are has also improved. And so what may have been allowed 10 years ago, now we have information that puts them in sensitive areas. So with new permits coming in, whether the way the code read it says any permit. So whether it's a basement finish or an addition or a pool, we have to follow our code and bring people in. So that's the reasoning behind it. So again, I appreciate your patience on this. April or Diane, do you have any comments on this?
I don't.
I don't either.
Okay, Max, Rob, do either of you have anything?
Nothing for me.
Nope. Pretty,
Okay, with that, Baylor, do you have any questions,
I do not.
comments you want to make or anything?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, all right. Then I would entertain a motion for a conditional use and zoning approval for a basement finish in the home of Graham and Andrea Mearns at 1156 Forgotten Lane.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Rob Stapley,
I'll second it.
second by Max Pierce. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Voting is unanimous. So once again, as soon as Diane has the record of decision ready and I can get it signed, she'll get it to you and you can move forward with your building permit at the county.
Perfect.
So
Thank you
thank
very
you
much.
again for your patience and have a very good afternoon.
You too.
Thanks. Okay, Chris, thanks for being patient. We are to our third item on the agenda. We will consider for approval a request by Ascentive Homes for a new home located at 677 East, 525 North in Providence. This home we're looking at under the same findings of fact. Our conclusions, this one is back in the same area with the hazard landslide area. And so that's why we're looking at this one. Our conditions, the applicant will continue to meet all relevant federal, state, county, Providence City rules, laws, codes, and ordinances. The applicant will mitigate the landslide area by, and then you've got a mitigation statement that says that the home is designed and engineered to fit the grade of the lot and prevent landslides. And so here's my concern. And I talked with the building official earlier today to follow up on this. It has on note 3 on the plan sheet 1, it's talking about the footing notes, and it says all footings to be on undisturbed native soil or properly prepared structural fill, which must be specified by a geotechnical engineer. So have you had a geotech person on site to look at this to tell us what's going to go on there?
No, so if we're on native soil, then the native soil should be able to support it. And the structural engineer has specified whatever size of footing he wants.
Well, are you on native soil?
Well, we haven't dug anything yet, but I don't think there's any fill on that lot at all as it sits.
Okay,
The whole thing is native soil.
okay. I don't know that will be the case when you actually get out there. It may be, there may be some of those lots that are in that condition, but there are quite a few that do have disturbed soils on them. So I'm not sure if that will be the case or not. But anyway, if it's not the case, if you're not on native soil, then you will need to have a geotech engineer provide the specifications for the soil that you put those footings on and the foundation. And the building official will require that. So maybe would help to speed your process up if you check that out and just submit everything all together with him instead of having to maybe do a do-over. But Rob or Max, do either of you have any comments on that?
I would agree that, and I don't know for sure that there's no fill on that lot. I didn't drive up to look at it, but I would suspect that there's some on there, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
So the other lot that we built on lot 11, for sure had lots of fill on it, and was a problem for us. So, but I don't think that lot 18 does. But yeah, we can talk with the geotech engineer. I would assume that note you're referring to is one that's just kind of a general copy and pasted CYA note from the structural engineer.
Well, it may
But it's
be.
on there. That's fine.
Since we're dealing with a sensitive area and that note kind of pertains to what we're dealing with and it's on your plan, then I just need to make sure that we follow along with that. That was really my only question. And then again, just a word of caution on the setbacks to make sure that you have your property corners staked so that the building officials can see where the line is so that they can make sure you meet those setback requirements. Rob, is there anything you want to add?
Well, I don't, there's a lot of fill on that particular lot, and I think for the most part the road had a little fill, and there wasn't a lot of stuff that the developer put on top of that particular lot. It can be very difficult to know without exploratory searching. My question is more pertains to the reason why it's on the landslide county map altogether and what that really means. That doesn't necessarily mean that there are man-made fills that we're worried about. That whole area has been deemed landslide potential. And so whether a geotech needs to kind of do some homework for whatever structures are getting put on that as a precautionary measure, so to speak, for the buyer risk factor. I don't know that it really matters whether it's native soils or not, because the alluvial fans themselves that were created in that area might be the reason why that area is on the county's map the way it is. Makes sense?
I think you're probably right on that, Rob. I would agree with that statement. I think when they look at their hazard areas, they're looking at them based on geotechnical things, not necessarily man-made problems. So I do think that it's noted on here on your plan that you'll have a geotech person involved. I think you probably need to make sure you follow up with the building department and do that, whether you do it before you submit your permit or concurrent with submitting it, or whether you get them out there and you all talk about it and decide what you're going to do. But it is, according to the county, it is in a hazard landslide area. And so whatever precautions the geotech people say you need to do is what we want you to do. We want a safe product in the end for whoever lives there, not just the first owners, but the owners from a long time in the future. Max, you want to make any more comments?
Nothing else.
Okay. So, Chris, have you got anything else you want to say?
I do not.
Okay. All right. That being said, I would entertain a motion to approve conditional use and zoning approval for a new home located at 677 East, 525 North, based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and conditions. And I am going to add into the conditions that the geotech, how is that worded again? Sorry. That you do have a geotechnical engineer check just exactly what you need to put those footings in place so that we do our due diligence on the landslide area. If I could get do either one of you gentlemen want to make that motion or modify it?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Max Pierce, second by Rob Stapley. Chris, you got you want to make any comments before we vote?
No, is that going to be a requirement for all those lots in that area?
When
The
they show up
geotechnical
under the
report?
landslide, yes. Yeah, in fact, the one just before you, we have a full-blown geotech report. They did 3 test holes on that lot, if I remember the report right, where they also discussed the retaining walls, things like that. But
Sure.
yeah, we're not singling anybody out.
No, I'm just asking. We may buy some more lots in that area, so just wondering.
Yep. If they show up under that landslide thing, that's the direction we'll go. Okay. That being said, vote on the motion. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Voting was unanimous and approved. So Chris, Diane, like I said on the other 2, Diane will get the record of decision ready and I can get it signed and then she can get it to you and on to the county for your building permit process.
Thank you.
Thanks again for your patience with us today.
You bet.
There any other questions, concerns from anyone?
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Motion by Rob Stapley, second by Max Pierce. All in favor? Aye.
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 Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you again, everyone.
Thanks.
I've got a 3 o'clock one.